I'm not mad at you.
Can I Kick It Podcast, episode 11, take one. Action.
Yo, I'd love to welcome you to the 11th episode of the Can I Kick It Podcast. August, what's up?
What's going on, homie?
Chilling. People, what's up? I'm assuming you chilling. We back and we kicking it. More Raptors basketball, more topics of the day, and so on and so forth. I know it gets a little mixed up, but this is how we do it.
Full disclosure, Kani and I are feeling really nice right about now.
It's been a good week, man. I've had a fantastic one. Sir, call out a staff meeting. Bang, more blessings. So it's been kind of a crazy week. I find this time, I like this. Like when the Raptors are winning all the time, the regular season gets a little boring. When they're losing and there's a little bit of adversity, I get things to pick apart and look at. And I feel like we get to bring people more into a basketball culture because losing is part of it. Somebody has to lose. There's teams at the bottom, and you have to know how to develop your team and how to get things out of your players and how to understand what you're seeing. I think the common fan misses that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
At the end of the day, when it comes down to a team, you prepare a team to go into a game and hopefully win for the outcome.
Yeah.
When you prepare for a game, you're setting up a team in such a way with the personnel, the preparation, the staff, so that more times than not, you come out on the winning end. With that said, sometimes you're going to come out on the losing end.
Yeah.
That happened a lot early in the season.
It did.
But if you look back at all of those games, they were in every single one of those games except for the one against Boston, where they got their asses handed to them.
Yeah, well, I think that's especially early in the season, that's a tough game for them, right? Like you're looking at a lot of talent. You know, guys are checking their egos. Guys are building their confidence at the same time. You've lost a whole lot. There's people in new roles. Boston is an established team, regardless of how you want to look at it. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's the talent that makes the big difference there. I think it's like just the continuity. They're very good players that have been together for a very long time. Like Isaiah Thomas was there. They've gone through Kyrie. They've gone through Isaiah Thomas.
They survived Kyrie.
And they went through Kemba Walker. They went through three guys, Jason Tatum.
They didn't go through Kemba Walker. The nigga's still there. He came back this week.
Wow.
You didn't know that he came back this week?
Quarantine be fucking with me. I don't care about Kemba Walker. Fuck about Kemba Walker.
I should have sent you something.
I'm from Toronto. I think Kemba Walker's a very good player. I just don't give a fuck right now because I'm from Toronto.
Yeah. Unless you hear that the Raptors traded for him somehow and he's on our roster.
That would be interesting. I know he plays hard defensively. I just don't know if he has defensive skill.
I think you've heard completely different things than I've heard because, true, he's small, so he's already a bit of a defensive liability, but defensively, from what I've seen, I don't consider him somebody that plays hard defensively.
Either way, I just don't know that he does enough of what I need for a point guard on the Raptors.
Yeah.
But
you know what? With that said,
yes.
Let's try something a little different. Let me ask you a question this time.
Okay.
I heard through the grapevine that people are thinking that we'll call him Stanimal.
The manimal. Stanimal, the animal.
Before you know it, he's going to be closing games, playing clutch minutes for the Raptors down the stretch.
I think so. I think so.
Expound on that, if you would.
Okay. When I'm watching Stanley Johnson play, first of all, let's not forget that Stanley Johnson is he's a lottery pick.
He is 8th overall to the Detroit Pistons.
Correct. Right? And albeit a shitty draft class. You know what I mean? The guy is still like,
Whatever
when I went back.
Do you mean?
I don't even remember who was in that draft class. Who was in it? What year is that?
Stanley Johnson. Was that the Anthony Bennett draft?
Might have been. There you go. that says more than enough.
Yeah.
That says more than enough, right?
I could be wrong, but anyway.
I'm going to check. I'll Google Stanley Johnson. I just think he has a lot of skills. Like, the reads he's making are advanced. Mm-hmm. It's not your regular bench guy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of time they're throwing him in there to play defense at the 5 or the 4. right?
Mm-hmm.
Which he's done a good job at. Locked up Luka real nice, coming off the bench,
Yeah.
right? And the reason I can see him closing games is because the Raptors are gonna hang their hat on that. Like they're not gonna hang their hat on the fact that they're blowing you out by 130 points. They're gonna hang their hat on the fact that you still on camera.
It's cool.
They're gonna hang their hat on the fact that they are gonna play defense and they're gonna play it hard every night. They're gonna throw big bodies at you, different looks. But I think what I really like is the fact that he makes those passes out of he makes that read, right? Which is something that Mark did, but Mark didn't give you any offense, and Mark on defense is suspect at times. No?
Are we watching the same team? Marc Gasol was here. The reason why Marc Gasol only got his minutes on the floor when he wasn't giving us offense because he kept other people at bay. It's part of the reason why this year we had the bad start because we're missing Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka. Everybody only sees offense, right? Oh, if you put 20 points in the basket, you had a great night. But you can have that line.
It's not that. It's Mark. Mark was a starter. Mark's a guy who has a lot of.
Keep going.
Mark is a guy who has a lot of. It's bar talk, ladies and gentlemen.
Fuck, that was
He's
on
gonna
both
edit this
cameras.
out.
No, it was on both
He's gonna
cameras.
edit this out, but
It's
it's
on both
bar
cameras.
talk. And at the counselor, I don't know if you guys know the environment here, but a lot of the time it is a lot of guys, regulars, and girls as well, getting together on a Wednesday night, drinking, spilling shit on themselves, and talking about basketball, and that's exactly what this is. Anyways, Mark is a guy that will jump into a game, he'll have a couple of bad plays, but he'll make the right read, he'll make the right pass, at the right time. To me, Stanley Johnson is more locked into that role. As soon as he jumps into the game, he's a guy that right now, the only problem I ever have with him is doing too much. With Mark, I had him doing too little. It's different sides of the spectrum. Mark will come in, and I wish you would have shot that. I wish you would have made that. I wish you would have passed that. I wish you would have moved your feet a little further because I know what you're capable of. But Mark's old, and sometimes that lacks as you get into the game and you need to get warm. However, Stanley Johnson is the guy where I'm looking at him right now, and when I see him, he's ready, right? He's moving his feet right away. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the time, especially in that fourth quarter, when that bench is supposed to keep that lead, he's the guy making the right pass. He's the guy making the right play for them to be able to sustain that lead or get back into a groove rather than, the bench is not scoring, shit is not going the way it's supposed to go.
Those are big shoes to fill. When it comes to Stanley
Mark's
Johnson,
7 foot.
yeah, it's big shoes to fill. But notice what you just said about Mark. What a lot of people, I feel like it's a mainstream mentality at times, right? Because what a lot of people neglect to realize is when it comes to Marc Gasol, everything you just said is accurate.
Yeah.
You wish he would have, but you're not mentioning anything about his defense when you say that. You not in none of that did you say, I wish he would have defended this way, or we're only talking about his offense. And Mark was a bit of a defensive liability at times, especially because there was things that he was capable of. Like he could hit a 3-point shot.
Yes.
He annoyed me when he started shooting for 3.
Yes.
But it was mainly because they would swing it to him and he just wouldn't shoot it in rhythm. He would look for the next pass and then realize, oh shit, nobody's on me.
And I think that's age as well. Like I think when you come into a team like Mark's coming into the Raptors, and by that time I think they already had Kawhi. You're understanding that Kawhi is a superstar, and regardless of what you did in Memphis, your role has changed, right? So you're looking at it as, man, I'm gonna defer. You're not working on your shot as much. You're looking at more tape to see where you fit in. Like it's a very fine line, right? You know what I mean? There's only so many hours in a day. You have time to fucking work on your jump shot. You have time to watch tape. You have time to work on your defensive schemes and watch tape during that. Your offensive schemes and see where your shots are coming from. All I'm saying is, with Stanley being a little younger, I think this is, I think that this is a good situation for him to exploit the tools that he had as a college player and what people saw him as a draft pick at that eighth spot. This is a good time for him to start exploiting those tools. He's definitely passing the ball better. I'm very impressed by him passing the ball, especially on the cut. Like, that's on the fly, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what you want. Like, you just want a player that is not going to be super scripted. That was my problem with, I don't want to go here, but that was my problem with Pascal in those 2 games that we lost back to back.
We'll get
shot
there.
at the buzzer.
Okay.
He got to his spot, but he knew exactly what he was going to do when he was going to get to it.
Yeah.
He wasn't prepared, but he didn't have a counter.
Okay, without going too far into that, but he got it off. He got it off, and I think people need to realize that he got a good fucking look. Like, if you turn around and nobody's
State,
there,
against Portland,
he got a good fucking look. Like, and those rimmed out, they were in and outs on both of those.
True, but Draymond Green's hands were up after he released it, before we knew whether or not it was going in or out. You know why his hands were up? Because he was looking, saying, I'll live with that shot.
Yeah.
I'll live with Pascal Siakam taking a 17-foot
But
fadeaway.
that also comes down to what this season is, sir. And this season right now, at this point, is a lot of development. And if you, like, let's understand something as fans. We're not. It would be nice to win a championship this season, but that would be a fucking fairy tale.
That's true. But with that said, let's keep it pushing.
Okay, cool. I'll see ya, because we definitely went over time.
That's all good.
Do you have more questions, or do you want?
Or do
cool.
Or do I not remember?
That's
where we're at. I have no clue. My phone is over.
I hope this makes it into the podcast, because this shit is so hard.
I do not remember. I have
to break this down in a week.
I'll be very honest with you. In the last 2 minutes, I was like, all right, let me talk, but let me try to remember where we're.
Okay.
I got nothing.
I got you. I have you.
Yeah. Fully dependent on that.
To Norm or not to Norm? Here we are. And my thing is, right now, is that I really like Terrence Davis, I think, is a guy that is like Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher had a minute to break out this season. He had a minute to say what's on his mind. He had a minute to play his game, a minute to talk to the coaches, and I think we're seeing the results of that, because there's no other option. With Norm and Terrence Davis, and let's be honest, Kyle Lowry or Fred, whoever you want to put at that 2 spot in the very beginning of the game, right? Because it's either Kyle Lowry or Fred VanVleet. Norm comes off the bench, and then we have a third stringer in Terrence Davis at that 2 spot, right? I am looking at it as, I think we're extremely deep at that 2 spot, and maybe developing Terrence Davis is not such a bad thing. Terrence Davis, right now, 13.8 minutes a game, okay? 8.4 points a game.
Okay.
48.5, basically 50% from the field.
Okay.
2 rebounds, 1 assist. All right? Let me get through this. Norman Powell, 23 minutes a game, 23.3 to be exact.
Okay.
12.5 points a game.
Okay.
41.8, so he's shooting about 42% from the field. 2 assists, 2.1 to be honest, and 0.7 rebounds. 2 rebounds and 1 assist.
Okay.
It's almost the same stat line, except I know you hot. I know you hot. But except for the fact that, let's say Terrence Davis plays less minutes, and let's also take into account that, Norman probably does a lot of small things on the other side of the ball. But with this being a development year, I'm not mad at watching Terrence Davis develop into a steady role player because I think, and this is not a knock to Powell, I just think that he has more tools than Powell does on the offensive and defensive end. Like, I get it. I see that he's been with us for years. I understand that he knows the defense, right? But we're under a new coach. We're clearly in a developmental stage, right? We're clearly in a place where we're trying to fucking work out money and how we're going to have money for a free agent and trying to keep money off the books. Because we all know that we're not good enough to compete for a championship, which is what this team is about. At this point, we're about competing for a championship. It's not that I don't like Norm. It's not that I don't think he's a good player. But I don't think it's fair to Norm or for us to keep sticking him in this bench role when he's clearly better at a starting role. And there's a lot of starting roles for him out there.
Easiest way to do it is you said Terrence Davis is averaging 8 points at 12 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And Norm,
12 minutes.
yeah, and Norm is averaging 23 minutes
with 12 points.
Right?
Maybe 13. I think it's 12.5.
It might be saying that we would probably get more production from him if he's seeing Norm's minutes.
It's not that. It's not that. I think he just has a more diverse set of tools at this point that can be developed. I feel like Norm has.
I like that.
Norm is. If I watch Norm play, when Norm has a good day, he's like 5 of something from 3.
You know, Norm dunked last night two-handed on a lob from Fred, and I saw it and I went, "Where'd that come from?"
But it shouldn't be that. Like, Norm has always been an explosive player. I don't know why he lost that, but
yeah,
I think it comes down to player development. I think that you need to take the time to develop players at the right time to develop certain skills. If I am a dunker, if I'm a person that plays above the rim and you play me at spots where I have to shoot my 3, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go home and work on my 3 because I want more playing time. If I continue to get that role, I'm no longer going to want to slash to the bucket and dunk. My body, my athleticism is going to suffer. Terrence Davis is at a point right now where he shoots the 3. I see a little bit of in-between game. I see him and Fred working together, and I love the way he cuts to the basket. I am not super happy about his defense, but I will take a losing record this year with him developing at a high rate to have a better record next year with a better player alongside him.
Raptors will not have a losing record this year.
I'm not saying that they will. I'm not saying that they will.
Sorry.
I'm just saying my philosophy as a coach.
I'm a little sensitive. You said I'll take a losing record this year. All I heard was losing record this year. But anyway,
analytically at a worse
in keeping with what
scenario.
In keeping where I was going with this, because I said 2 things. The first thing was, if you were to match Norm's numbers against Terrence Davis, right? Field goal percentage is a ratio anyway.
Yep.
You're saying that Norm is averaging 41% for the field and Terrence Davis is averaging 48. I get that. If you were to double Terrence Davis's minutes, that means that he would be averaging north of 16 minutes per game, 16 points per game.
I don't want to make that promise, sir.
I know that, but I'm just putting it out there, right? If we're trying to project that way, that's 16 points per game plus maybe 17 to Norm's 12. Okay, and quite frankly, I could kind of see that also because of his Terrence Davis's layup package, his dunk package, his shot selection. I can see how that would translate to more points coming from him.
Yes.
Right? So that's one thing.
Right.
The second thing I think about where it doesn't actually work in Terrence Davis's favor is when you look at the Raptors. You look at the Toronto Raptors, you look at their future, and Kyle Lowry is a Raptor legend, but he's not going to be here forever. So when he's gone and you look at the Raptors' future, who do you see as their starting backcourt? Right? And here are your options. Norman Powell, Terrence Davis, Malachi Flynn, Fred VanVleet. Something tells me of those 4 players, you don't really think Terrence Davis.
I have you. I'm not saying that he needs to start. And I'm not saying that we need to trade Terrence Davis. But here's my crazy theory, okay? I know Fred gets paid a lot. right? But Fred is a guy that understands certain things, and to me, this year breaks down to Kyle Lowry and Norman Powell started, and breaks down to Fred VanVleet really leading that second unit. It makes us deeper, it gives us more versatility, and it helps develop players alongside a guard who is clearly advanced in Fred VanVleet beyond any bench guard that you can find in the NBA. Name one. Not a single bench guard plays at the level that Fred VanVleet plays at.
Yeah, but Fred VanVleet is a starter.
On most teams. Doesn't mean he has to be a starter right now.
All I mean by that is when we
Next
say
year when Lowry is done, next year when Lowry is retiring, or next year when we decide to trade him, now you bring up Malachi Flynn has had some time to play those extra garbage time minutes, because moving Norman Powell to that starting unit and moving Fred VanVleet opens up another guard space. It does, right? Malachi Flynn is that third guard that you can play alongside Fred VanVleet, or alongside, like when Kyle Lowry moves in, now Malachi is controlling the second unit.
I'm going to turn this man's name into a verb. What you're talking about is Ginobili-ing Fred VanVleet. And by that, what I mean is Fred VanVleet is a starter. When we're talking about he would be better, the best person off the bench, better than anybody else in the NBA, it's because he's a starter, and you're putting him on the bench.
Did Ginobili ever start eventually?
No, Ginobili was off the bench.
All the time? Really?
He might have had a game or two where he started out of necessity, but that's what he was known for. He was like, he closed every single game. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's not there yet, but after 5 years after retiring, they're going to make him a first ballot Hall of Famer. But that's pretty much what I see. What we're saying about Fred VanVleet. He's a starter that we're trying to put on the bench.
Who, if not really, like, he's gonna have the keys in a minute, man. Like, he's gonna have the keys in a minute. Like, he's a college kid that's turning 18 right now, going into college, right? And he'll have the keys in a minute. All I'm saying is, open up that guard spot. If Norm is better as a starter, I know Fred VanVleet's gonna give me, like, the way Nick Nurse places minutes and rotations, I know Fred VanVleet will give me 20 and 6 every night coming off the bench. And I know that he's able to communicate with those young guys and to get them into, their sets, and to get them into their defensive sets, and to command control on the floor. Right? I know he has that command. Why am I making Lowry play that? Lowry doesn't have to play with the bench. Remember, a couple years ago, Lowry plus bench was the fucking kill squad. That was your death lineup.
That was the bench mob.
Yep. And even after that, the year right before Kawhi, Lowry and that was your death lineup. Don't play with it now. It's okay. Let Lowry do his things. He's going into the twilight anyways. We all are comfortable with that. Whether or not he decides to stay or not, or play less minutes, and Fred plays more, how you manage that ego is what matters. Hey, Fred, you know what? I'm not telling you that you're not going to be a starter. I'm telling you that there's a transition period to do this right. And you can look at other teams and you can see how many times other teams haven't done this right. This is your team, but you're still not done earning it. Right? Fred is a guy that responds to that kind of shit. Right? Stanimal can be a problem. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, I know we've talked a lot, gang. I know we did a lot of kicking it, gang. We'll see you next week, episode 12. I don't have much else to say, brother.
You're calling out episode 12. We're still on episode 11.
I know, but we'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back next week. Right? If you have any comments, please leave them in the YouTube section. Blah, 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 blah. I guess smash that like button and hit the subscribe.
Why are you doing that?
Because I keep watching YouTube videos. I feel like I'm supposed to.
Don't do that. That's not what we do.
We'll see you next week. I think we play Indiana on Sunday. You know anybody else that we play? Because I don't follow. I don't check until I need to check. Because quarantine sucks. Yeah.
We're playing Indiana back to back, and then
Sunday and Monday.
No, Sunday and Tuesday.
Okay.
And then the tests come through. Milwaukee and I think Brooklyn after that.
I don't know why Giannis signed that contract. He got finessed. I'll say that every time I get a chance on this podcast. That was the dumbest thing he could have done.
He didn't get finessed.
He will be blamed for everything. When they don't make it to the fucking finals this season, it's going to be on Giannis. It's not going to be on the team. Last year it was a team. This year, not so much. You want to talk about it next week?
It's all good. He didn't get finessed. It's just that's his brand.
Finessed.
He's the guy that...
Finessed.
He's the guy...
Finessed. Finessed. Finessed.